Cars are what we all have in common, but hot rodders and customizers embrace them in a way that nobody else does. They use their cars not only as transportation, but as a means of creating something almost from scratch that they could call their own.
The classic customs and hot rods from decades past are cherished by collectors and showcased in galleries and museums.
The Niekamp Roadster was the first America's Most Beautiful Roadster winner, 1950, Oakland Roadster Show. If we ever put that car up for sale, I think it would bring $400,000 or $500,000.
But for most customizers, the point isn't to create a museum piece or even a prize for best in show. It's to move on down the road, to see and be seen.
One of the commonalities between hot rods, low-riders, tuners, is that they can be built piece by piece by piece by piece. These cars are like oysters, you know, one layer after another.
The car represents an art form. The only difference between us and people that put it on paper is we do our art and then we drive it around. That's what we do.
Whatever its vintage, restructuring an automobile to enhance its style is hard physical work. Customizer Gene Winfield's masterful metalwork and exquisite paint schemes have made him a legend in the field. At his shop in the Mojave Desert, he incorporates original designs, from molded grills to louvered hoods, to ensure that each car he customizes is unique.
Each and every car, I look at it and maybe I study it for a little while, and then I try to figure out things that I can do that'll be a little different. With custom cars, we try to put different grills, different taillights, and things so that each and every car has at least some things that are totally different than the other guy.
Winfield lowers the roof of a 1949 Mercury the way he's done it for the last 50 years.
Drop an inch here.
With hand tools, elbow grease, and a hard-earned degree in backyard technology, it's called chopping the top.
What we're aiming for here, of course, is a typical chopped Mercury, which is, you know, all Mercuries should be chopped, in my opinion. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to chop it approximately 4 inches in front and 5 in the rear.
Winfield begins by installing temporary braces inside the car to keep the body stable. Then he measures the windshield and calculates how much he'll remove from the supporting pillars to achieve the desired slant.
This is called the A pillar, this is the B pillar, and this is the C pillar. So on this particular chop, I'm going to cut it out completely, I'm going to re-angle it, and then we're going to have what we call a slanted post.
While tracing his cuts along the belt line, Winfield marks a section for removal at the C pillar, so the top will have room to settle when it's lowered.
Okay, so now we're going to start cutting. Okay.
After cutting the pillars, Winfield marks more cuts to flatten the curve of the roof.
See, that's the big problem in the Mercuries. They have a kind of a big dome in the roof right here, and we have to stretch that forward and get rid of that. And that allows the top to go forward and down to a new angle. Stretch it forward.
Finally, it's time to check out the chop.
Okay.
The initial chop looks good, but Winfield will fine-tune its shape to achieve the ideal proportion.
Have a little bit. That's the most important thing on a Mercury, is to get that flow, and that's just super important to get that right. That's the way we do it to get a classic chopped Mercury.
Custom work by Winfield and countless others is displayed at shows throughout the country.
So you notice how the steering is, where you did put the box right here?
There, drivers swap parts and stories and admire the details of each other's craft.
This is slick. Oh, it's total Americana. You're making a statement about who you are,
what you do, what you enjoy, and you're letting everybody else see it and letting everybody else appreciate it.
For all their differences, car customizers have long shared a do-it-yourself spirit and a distinctly populist ethic.